Hello, world. What's up? Welcome to Build. Hey, I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest is a supremely talented dude with a lot of irons in the fire. He's got a podcast called In Love with Michael Rosenbaum and Chris Sullivan. His band, Joseph the Spouse, is performing live at Largo in L.A. in a couple of weeks, and he's recently received his first ever Primetime Emmy Award nomination for his portrayal of Toby on This Is Us. I'll hold for applause. There we are. It's an Emmy, people. Big leagues. Folks, I'm glad you're all warmed up because the great Chris Sullivan is here. How about you make some noise for Chris? It's the second time on the show, third time. He's back on the show. Amazing man. He's here. Very excited. Now, season 4 of This Is Us is still a few weeks away. So first what we'll do is we'll take a quick look back at his, Emmy Award nominated performance, and then we'll bring him out. So let's go ahead and run that clip.
And Kate, of course, a baby would be cause for celebration. But
Why is there a but? How about stop at celebration and just stop there?
I just think it's irresponsible.
Because of my weight?
No.
Yeah, you've already made that really clear.
No, Kate, now you're twisting my words.
Okay, well, for the past 20 years, you have swallowed every single comment about my weight. But now you want to bring it up now because it's something that I want?
Okay, where do I draw the line? How do I toe the line, Kate? Because we can joke about
Shut up! Everyone just shut up! This is not about you, Rebecca. It's not about any of you. This is about me and Kate. All right, we lost a child, and now we want to start a family, and we needed a little help because we have bad eggs, and apparently I have really bad sperm. So we have every expert in town telling us how dangerous this is. And we know that it probably won't work out for us. So please, for the love of God, save the asinine commentary from the cheap seats.
Toby.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, I'm gonna go clear my head. I'll see you guys at the premiere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Chris Sullivan right here. Come on.
The great Chris Sullivan.
That's right. That's it. Well, it's the Emmy Award nominated Chris Sullivan. We could do that.
Sure, I love it. That's very nice. On these press tours, everywhere I go, I have to hear myself talking about my sperm.
And sir, is that not the dream?
It's a weird thing.
That...
It's an odd happening.
It is. I was talking about this in the intro. I talked to you in the green room. You've got so much going on right now. It means the world that you found some time to come hang out with us and be here for a little bit. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about it all. We've got the podcast coming. We've got some music from you. And, of course, the very recent Emmy nomination. Hold for applause. Let's...
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Huge deal. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it's an exciting time. For to be nominated for something like this is an excellent cherry on top of all these years of work. But it's I really appreciate it for people like my parents. It's kind of it's an indicator that all of the sacrifices and things that they've made over the years have been taken seriously. So I'm very glad
where'd you find out? How'd you find out? What was it like to tell your parents?
So I was actually at home visiting my parents when I found out. I didn't know that it was Emmy nomination day.
And your mind.
Well, it didn't even occur to me that it would be coming up, and I was at home, and Chrissy texted me and said, "Congrats," a bunch of emojis. I said, I don't know what that must be for somebody else. And then my publicist texted, "Congratulations!" They're freaking out, and I found I was like, "Wait, Chrissy, what for? What?" She said, "You got nominated for an Emmy." And I said, "That's so great that the show's got nominated again." And she said, "No, you personally have been nominated for an Emmy." And it took quite a while for it to kind of land. She had to send me photographic evidence. But yeah, it was quite the day.
Have you always been that way, where when you receive good news, your immediate response is, "This must be for someone else"?
Got to be for somebody else. You've won. Who did? Who won? No, it was so far out of my mind. That it just came out of nowhere, so I was a little taken off guard by it.
And Mandy also got her first Primetime Emmy nom as well.
Yeah, that was my favorite nomination of the day. Mandy has been doing some of the best acting on television over the last 3 years, and right?
Absolutely.
And
there we are. See?
and this is her first nomination, so that's insane, and it's long overdue, and I'm so happy for her. Yeah.
Did you guys have you done a fun little matching tattoo thing? Have you celebrated the moment yet? Have you?
We're not a big tattoo cast, I don't think.
Oh, bummer.
I'm trying to think. Chrissy has a couple of small ones, but what would our tattoo be? We can't just
Great question.
Can't just say "This is us" on our ankle.
No, it's got to be more than that.
This is us on our lower back. That's what it is.
Do you break it up?
That's
Does
what
one
it
do
is.
this I and
Yeah.
then S us?
Yeah,
Like, how
so
do you
we
split
all
it?
have to be standing in the right order, kind of lifting our shirts up
Everyone
a little
gets
bit.
one letter.
Yeah, I think it'd
Yeah,
be cute.
and then you all stand in a row.
Yeah, fantastic. This is a
Which
good
opens
idea.
up the door to anagrams. Then you could do other things.
That's
If you all get one
That's
letter,
right. It could be.
his.
Well, yeah. Be careful. There's a
Yeah.
lot
Okay.
Of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
you
there's
see
a
what
lot.
I mean. We get into dangerous anagram territory.
You know what? Let's abandon the anagram idea. Soup.
Moving on.
You'll stand in a row. That's what we'll do. For now, you will always stand in a row. You'll identify that
Same
order.
yeah.
You guys, it's so funny though. Not obviously you're not doing the anagram tattoo, but if you did, I wouldn't be surprised. Every time I see you and your castmates together, you are like children, just having the best time, laughing, enjoying it. Was it like that right away? Did it take time for you to all develop your bond together?
Yeah, from the get-go, from the first table read, it was all very, very kind of familial. We got along very well. And I think, because of the nature of a lot of the work that we do, whether it's intense or emotional, that we kind of gain trust in each other very early on. And with that trust comes the ability to play and have fun and kind of let loose. So that has kind of stuck with. There's a lot of laughter on set. There's a lot of screwing around, probably more than there should be. And yeah. Luckily, since the show's so broken up by timelines, we jump back and forth, all these things, when we go to events and we're all together in the same place, that's like the only time we really get that. And so it's nice. It's nice to be all
Do you ever
together.
get nervous when they're doing when they do a jump forward and you're not there?
Listen, I've been included in the furthest jump forward, I think.
exactly.
The furthest, so that's
Insurance.
my job has been secured further down the line in the story. So
I always think about that. It's
I'm
like,
happy
hey, we're
for
doing
it.
a shot in the future. Cool. Yeah, you don't
Cool,
need to
cool,
come
cool.
in.
Yeah.
Why not?
No. I'd love to be in it, just in the background.
We're good.
Making a soup or something. Yeah.
Have you wrapped season 4? Are you still in the middle of that? You on a
We
little
just
break?
started. We're
okay.
about 3. We're finishing up the 3rd episode, maybe just into the 4th episode of season 4 now. Yeah.
When you take a break like that, is it easy to jump right back in? Does it take time to find Toby and the crew?
Jumping back into the 2nd season took a little bit, but now I think everybody has done enough work on their characters, and they're all kind of well-rounded enough. We know them well enough that, at least for me, it was much easier this season to kind of jump back into it.
You tend to see that, especially on comedies. You see a lot of that, where by season 3 or 4, everyone really figures that everything clicks and finds
Right.
their
The musicality of the rhythm of things kind of falls into place, and I think that we've definitely hit that as far as our relationships go and how characters move in the world and relate to each other and all those things, yeah.
Well, that was one of the things that was so great about season 3 is we got to see Toby as Kate's rock for so long, and now you got to watch the pendulum kind of swing the other way and that relationship, and Kate kind of had to become the rock at some point. When you get all that, how excited, what's that feeling when you get to see all the stuff that you're going to get to do, all the ground? How much do you know going into a season you're going to get to do?
I mean, we get broad strokes, and they'll give us some warning so that we can be prepared and kind of get ourselves ready for those things. But any bit of information that we have about the character is helpful as far as the way we relate to all the people around us. Any bit of information from the past helps inform the present, or the future informing the present, the way, at least as far as the storylines that we're putting together. So it's always very exciting.
Do they come to you ahead of time? Like, how much advance notice do they go, hey, just so you know, down the road, we're going to tackle, like, Toby's going to battle anxiety and depression. Like, do they give you room
Yes.
to be able to, lay groundwork?
Yeah, broad strokes for stuff like that, and they let us know what he's struggling with, and obviously things change along the way. But yeah, they're the writing staff. The writers' room is wide open to us. We are welcomed in, which is a rarity. Rightly so. In a lot of cases, you don't want the actors coming in telling you the direction they think the story should go. Surprise. It goes in their direction. But this writer staff is really open to our input and our own life experiences, because everything you're seeing in the show, none of it is made up. Yeah. It is all drawn like a giant, Voltron machine from everyone's life. Little pieces are put together to form these characters, and these are all things that have happened to the people who work on this show.
As I see more interviews with you, with Chris, and I see you as a person, it's just interesting to see the overlap of how much of yourself you kind of bring to Toby, and how much do you bring any of Toby home? Do you?
Yeah, I mean, as we get to know these characters, and as the writers get to know us, things start to overlap, and we start to move closer and closer to each other, personality-wise, style-wise, all these things.
Yeah.
But definitely, the biggest for me is the biggest kind of similarity between Toby and myself is this use of humor or levity to manage situations, to manage anxiety, to manage relationships. Kind of keeps people at arm's length a lot of times. Sometimes as a healthy boundary, sometimes as a defense mechanism. But I do that as well quite a bit.
How do you, and you kind of mentioned this briefly very early on, that you guys at times, as the show is known, you'll go to heavy and dark places. You seem like a dude who's really in touch with being vulnerable, with the significance of being vulnerable. How do you go to a dark place and come back unscathed? How do you get there and come back?
I don't think you do.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's always some ramification there, but it has to do with the however damaging it may be, has everything to do with your preparation and your exit strategy from those things. And so, being well rested, well hydrated, well connected to family and friends, having some kind of spiritual practice or yoga practice or meditation practice or whatever it is to kind of navigate these emotional areas is, for me, very important. I mean, we've seen, you don't get to see a lot of process with actors, but we have seen the effects of, going to these dark places on people. It's a hard thing to navigate.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so fascinated with it. I think we, as viewers, as consumers, notoriously have strong emotional reactions to just watching these performances and watching these characters. So to fathom what you go through, living those experiences, creating those moments, you have to have some kind of tools in place to as you said, navigate that.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we know. A long time ago, when I started in the Chicago theater, there was an actress in this show who, we were doing this really intense show about Emmett Till that involved a lot of hatred and a lot of violence, and for everyone in the cast. And people were breaking down a lot, like mentally and emotionally and physically. And she reminded all of us to take care of ourselves as in our heads, we know that this isn't real. In our hearts, we know that this isn't real, but on a cellular level, your body is still experiencing these traumas, these mini shockwaves, these mini bursts of negativity or hatred or depression or whatever the difficult thing is. And so to kind of navigate that, Mandy's been doing it for 3 seasons. So for myself, I've only had to approach it a couple of times throughout the show. But it's a tricky, it's a complicated emotional and mental place to kind of explore. But it's good to be a part of those conversations. Any art, film, television, painting, songwriting, any of those things, the job of the artist is to reflect back to the audience emotion, point of view, opinion, so that the audience can relate. I mean, the reason people have such an emotional reaction to the show is not because it's a sad show. It's because people have sadness. And when it is reflected back to them, they have the opportunity to explore it and to feel it and to ask themselves why they are feeling it. Is there something is there a perspective I need to change? Is there someone I need to call? Do I need to ask for help? All of these things. So the show can be a challenge, and it is a challenge to people saying, what in your life is holding you back? What in your life do you need to change? What in your life do you just need to address? Are these feelings you've had for a long time that are coming up now watching this television show? Because these are not real people. these are characters, and it's a made up story. But there's a reason why so many people are connecting with it. And I think it's a really important thing to do right now, to kind of connect however we can.
No, for sure. Do you ever get not nervous or scared of, but like the depth of that connection with the audience, especially on a show that loves to sort of subvert expectations from time to time in its storytelling? Do you ever film something or do something and go, man, I hope the audience can handle this, or I hope they respond well to this?
I think there's nothing that the audience can't handle. And our writing staff and Dan Fogelman do an amazing job, I think, of not only asking the audience to go certain places, but taking care of their audience, going there with them, and not abusing them, not doing something to be salacious, not doing something to be controversial, but to challenge an audience, but to also say, we are right here with you. Don't worry, we're going to take care of you. We are going to tell this story in a way that that is healing, or is beneficial, or is enlightening. And so my biggest fear when it comes to that type of stuff is more, I hope people relate to this, because if they don't relate to it, if they see me give a performance and they're like, I don't believe it, like false. Then that's when I haven't done my job.
I'm going to pivot to something somewhat to say maybe a little silly, but I love about you, and something I really wanted to ask you about. We are about a month out. Have you figured out what you're going to wear to the Emmys yet?
I have not figured it out yet.
No, we have not.
Surely you've thought about it.
Well, we're thinking about it.
Pressure is
Oh, people are drawing things. Emails are flying around. There's sketches, I'm sure.
Where did that come from?
I like to wink at all of this.
Yeah.
None of this is real. None of this is real. It's everything you see is well crafted and curated, and I'm wearing makeup right now. and when you see us at these events, just to the left out of frame is all of the mechanisms, is all of the wires and the people doing the real work and the people sweating and lifting heavy things. And we are standing in front of velvet curtains, smiling and waving. And it's all part of it. It's all part of the entertainment industry, the Hollywood industry. And so my goal with attending these events is to kind of wink at the camera, reminding people that this is not real, and that this is not as serious as we all make it out to be. I mean, there are a lot of very serious things happening in the world, and it's fun. I take what I do very seriously, but I don't take myself very seriously. Yeah.
Did you ever anticipate through that winking and through that you would become this sort of unofficial icon that people are now like, what's Chris gonna wear? There's like articles that break down all your different outfits and the crazy things you've worn and the decisions you've made.
I mean, that's the interesting thing about like you even asking that question is such an interesting bubble of the world. There's not one person in here who wonders what I'm gonna wear to the Emmys. They hadn't even thought about it because it's not in their sphere of, because it's such an interesting little bubble. And because you and I are in this type of relationship with interviewer and media and all of these things, like we're looking for stories. And so a good story might be, well, what kind of crazy thing is he going to put on? And so the same thing kind of happened.
It becomes a story.
It becomes a story because we need stories and we have to tell stories, and we are telling stories all the time. But I accept the title of fashion icon.
Humbly.
Humbly. in your bubble and mine.
Yes. It's not a bad bubble as bubbles go.
No, it's a good bubble.
It's a pretty good bubble.
Nothing wrong with a bubble.
No.
As long as you know there's a bubble.
You have to be aware of the bubble.
Yeah.
Ignorance of the bubble, not
You have to be aware of the bubble.
Have to be. When did this be? Has
What's the deal with all these bubbles? Everyone's in a bubble.
Talk to me real quick. I want to do audience Q&A stuff, but you got, like I said, a million things going on. This podcast I'm really excited about with you and Michael. How'd that come about?
No, so Michael Rosenbaum and I are starting a podcast called In Love with Michael Rosenbaum and Chris Sullivan. I went on his podcast, Inside of You, and we had a great conversation, and we talked about gratitude, and we talked about leading positive lives and trying to lift ourselves up and lift up the people around us. And so we decided we wanted to talk to people about the things they do in their life that lift them up.
Yeah.
We figured there's enough sarcasm and irony and anger, so we'd try to turn it to the positive channel a little bit. And so we're gonna premiere that podcast on Monday, August 26th, and start having conversations with all of the amazing people in our lives.
I've seen you tweet that you've talked to a couple people so far. You're enjoying the process, the podcast process, having long conversations, real conversations.
Yeah, talking to Chrissy Metz, talking to Chris Hardwick, Seth Green, John Hader, and their partners, like bringing their, in this industry, this industry wants to single us out, and it wants to separate us from the reality of our world. And in my world, it's, my wife, Rachel. And the industry will try very hard to separate the two of us and create this world and this world. And we wanted to offer an opportunity for people in this industry to bring their partners in. If you want to talk about the things that you love, bring the person you love. Let's talk about how this industry has affected your relationship, or if it hasn't, or how you navigate it. And so the conversations are a little bit different in that way, that we get some different perspectives.
That's always a tricky spot for me to navigate, because I never know what that person's feel. Like I think I saw you, I want to see 8 years you've been married now, is that it? Or
Yeah, we were married in 9 years.
I never know, 9 years. I never know, sorry. If you want to talk about that, if your spouse wants to be a part of that world, if you want to bring that up, but that stuff is very interesting. So I'm excited to hear there's a podcast where that venue now exists.
I mean, we offer the opportunity. And they can decide if they want to engage in that way. And Rachel and I decided a long time ago how we wanted to engage in this business and how we wanted to present ourselves as a unified force, as a unified couple. So
you guys had that conversation before This Is Us, while This Is Us, or just in general, because you've been in the business for a while.
At the beginning, when we started having events all the time, and Rachel would feel nervous about being the only spouse there or the only significant other there, and we just decided, like, it doesn't matter what the invitation is. It doesn't matter. Like, we decide how we move through this world.
Yeah.
We decide where we go together and how we get to spend our time. And I'm not going to spend the majority of my life doing all of this work without her, like, and without being able to be together, or travel together, or go to the same places, and so it just is not worth it.
So that podcast, you said that's August
26th.
26th. Okay, we've got that. And then in a couple of weeks, you're going to be at Largo in LA.
Yeah, if you're in Los Angeles on September 8th, I will be playing at Largo. I've been performing under the moniker Joseph the Spouse. I've been writing music with Taylor Goldsmith of Dawes, also of Mandy Moore's husband. When we met, we hit it off hugely. We shared a lot of similar tastes in music, and we started writing songs. And now we've got 14 tracks, and we're going to put an album out soon, and we're just playing mostly around Los Angeles now.
You can listen to 2 of those, I think, at least now on SoundCloud, right?
Two of them are on. 2 of the tracks are on SoundCloud. I think "Laughing as Hard as I Can" and "Deaf Ears."
Is that your first time as a recording artist?
No, I recorded when I was living here in New York. I had a band called Sully and the Benevolent Folk, and we played out a bunch. And that was kind of a product of a creative exercise of writing a song a day for 30 days. So I wrote 30 songs, and then we narrowed it down to 10 or 12, and recorded our first record here, and played a bunch of shows around here. But this is certainly my first time, in the studio. Like Taylor got a bunch of the members of Dawes to come in and record on the record. They also play with us live. So I mean, these are journeymen. These are guys who've been playing stadiums since they were 19. So it's quite the honor. Yeah.
Does that put pressure on you to step up?
Yes,
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like I always, if I am if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
great space
Like
to be
I want,
creative,
I want,
exactly.
I want to surround myself with people who make me uncomfortable with my level of performance, so that I have to stay engaged and try harder and live up to. I want to be challenged. So
100%.
surrounding myself with those guys is an incredible force.
Totally. So we got that to look forward to.
And also, Rachel sings with me.
Really?
She does. She did a lot of the vocal arrangements on the first record and on this record, and so we perform live together. Yeah.
That is so cool. I had no idea. Okay, we're gonna. I know I promised the audience, and we're going to transition. There's one last thing I don't think you can tell me anything about, but in my bubble, I have to ask about it. I saw it on IMDb. It was revealed the Disney Plus series, The Marvel What If. It says you're reprising your role as Taserface.
Yeah, they invited us all back to play our roles in the animated What If, which is essentially a fantasy on a fantasy. So if things had gone differently in a certain universe, what would have happened if?
Did you get to do your bit yet? Have you already?
And I did. Yeah, I've been in and recorded my part.
So much fun. Did you record with? Did you do it individually, like solo, like they
It was
usually
all
do?
for me. It was all solo.
It was all solo.
But they got everybody. I mean, they got
everybody back. Yeah.
They got everybody back to play their roles. So it should be good. Yeah.
All right. And this is the absolute last thing that I couldn't believe when I saw on IMDb. I was going through. I had no idea you were the voice in the Geico Camel It's Wednesday Hump Day commercial. Is that true? That's you?
Yeah.
Audible gasps.
Now the audience lights
Audible
up.
gasps
See people
and
applauding. Nobody cared what I was going to wear to the Emmys. They were like, I've never even seen this guy before. I was just walking down the street in New York City. I don't even know what This Is Us is. He's the Geico Camel?
He's the camel.
Uh-oh.
Edge of their seats.
Guess what day it is? Yeah, and they're losing their minds, people.
Oh my God.
I went to 4 years of theater school. I studied at the Oxford School of Drama, and the thing that most people in this world have seen me in is the voice of the camel.
I'm sorry if I
Which
opened
I don't
a
mind.
wound.
I don't mind. No, I don't mind it.
Okay.
It's just it's. We should have opened with that.
Yeah, I know.
They would have loved to have known that at the beginning.
I suppose. Maybe we would have had them more for the dressing part of the
that's
Emmys
right.
if I did that.
Yeah.
Well-
Maybe I'll show up with a camel.
Can I tell you something?
Maybe I'll just show up with a camel and people are like, oh, that guy.
With the camel.
Yeah.
You learn something every one of these, every
Yeah.
time. So there we go. Next time, open with the camel story. Dude, thank you so much. All right, let's keep good on the word. We got how many? 2? We've got time for at least 2. Let's go. First one in the room. And they're only taking questions about the camel. So let's go. First question.
Or what I'm wearing at the Emmys.
There we are. Those are the topics. Go.
Hi, Chris. I was wondering how you decompress while shooting these really difficult emotional scenes on This Is Us.
While I'm shooting them, I try not to. Like while we're working, I try to stay in it, which is hard and annoying for other people around you, while you're sulking and trying to stay in a somber. Because I'll screw around all day long. I will make jokes all day long. I will interfere with other people's work. So the decompression happens after, and that happens by connecting with Rachel and taking care of myself physically and spiritually, emotionally, all those things. But yeah, while it's happening, it can be rough. It can be rough for all of us. It can be rough for everybody on set. I mean, those scenes, they bring everybody down. It's a rough day at work. But yeah, thanks.
When you talk self-care and things of that nature, do you go running?
Yeah, I mean, I have a meditation practice and a yoga practice, exercise. There's real basics that I, early on in therapy, my therapist was like, this is going to sound so cliche, but you have to understand these are foundational for a reason. But eating well, hydrating, getting enough sleep, and exercise, there's a reason why those are foundational. They're not just foundational because they make the jeans fit better. I mean, like, it improves my mental state. It improves my emotional state. It keeps me out of anxiety. It keeps me out of depression. It keeps me out of fear and anger. It keeps me out of road rage. Like, all of those things that are hang-ups in my life. There's very simple actions that I can take that can keep me kind of focused. Yeah.
For sure. Thanks. Kate, do we have time for one more? I'd love to do one more. Let's go. Yes, come on down.
We have an online question from our site, life-affirming.com.
Okay.
Someone wants to know, who do you get along with the most on set?
Who do I get along with the most on set? I'll tell you who I don't get along
I was gonna say that's what I want. Tell me the least.
Boy, that Mandy Moore. Who do I get along? I mean, it's Chrissy. It's Chrissy. I spend most of my days with her. Like we work the most together, and we hit it off from the table read. Like we just like, oh, we get each other. We have the same sense of humor. We both have the same type of grounding practices. So we're able to kind of tune in to people. It took us a while to get to know each other. Chrissy thought I hated her for the whole first season. What? Yeah, because I have, and it's very simple. Because when I'm working, I get very focused, and when I get focused, I get quiet. And I also have this underbite, so when I'm thinking, I look mad. Like when I'm just thinking, it looks like my chin's coming out, and it looks like I'm gritting my teeth. And so for the whole first season, she was like, I don't think he likes me very much. And it was just, I was nervous. She was nervous. We're both trying to figure out we're on a TV show. Oh, now it's a hit TV show. Oh, now it's the #1 show, and like it was a lot. But now we've kind of figured each other out, and kind of we can tell when like, you okay? Everything all right? Well, we kind of know how to help each other out through those things. So yeah.
Well, thank you for your question. While she was going around thinking you didn't like her, what did you think she thought of you?
I was probably too self-absorbed to wonder.
Yeah.
I was probably too wrapped up in my own BS at my own.
No, there's no B in there. Yeah, we can't do that either. Yeah.
To worry about it, which is also the part of the problem. Like to be more aware and to be more present and to understand that like I have an ability. An unintentional ability to make people uncomfortable. I am 6'5". I am a large I have literally just standing somewhere can accidentally take up too much space, and so it's something to be aware of.
I'll tell you this: when I walked in the room, you were very disarming. I felt very comfortable.
That's right. Well, I did get down on the floor.
That's true, which I thought was an odd choice, but it worked for me.
It worked.
I'm a diminutive, little guy, so you coming to my level, I appreciated that.
We laid down, we spooned.
We did.
Yeah.
Guess who was big, who was little? Go ahead, guess. Wait, no, they're not guessing.
Little spoon.
I know. Again, subverting the expectation.
Right.
I can't thank you enough for doing this and
Thanks so
hanging
much
out
for
with
having
me,
me.
man. It's been such an absolute treat. This is us. I mean, I'm going to tell
This
you.
is us.
This is us.
There we go. We're going to
That's
go out
it.
on that. Thank you so
don't want
much.
me to plug any of the dates,
Please do. Please do.
Okay. This is September 24th on NBC. So right around the corner. If you need to, go ahead, catch up on Hulu. Otherwise, September 24th, it's back for season 4.
One more date, actually, because
Tell me.
on August 31st, NBC is going to be giving a big surprise to the fans for the Big Three's birthday. So keep an eye out for that on August 31st.
August 31st, big surprise to the Big Three's birthday. We got the podcast on August. I can't believe I forgot the date.
26th.
Podcast on August 26th.
Yeah.
You're at Largo.
September 8th.
Get your Chris Sullivan calendar subscription sorted now so you don't miss any of these dates. And everybody here, thank you for being a great audience. Those tuning in, thank you for joining us. Yes, you're correct to applaud because the great Chris Sullivan deserves our thanks.
What will
Come
he wear
on.
to the Emmys?
What will he wear?